We're gonna see how long we can last here because my camera has 3 videos, costume videos on it. Basically, I have 50 gigabytes of footage and I'm getting full of stuff. Hello friends and welcome to another video. Today I am going to be teaching you how I made my replica of Taylor Swift's Mean dress from the, I don't remember, was it 2010? Whenever her music video came out. She wears this dress a little bit in the music video. My friend was having a Taylor Swift themed birthday party and of course I needed to make something for it. I realized that Taylor and we don't share a lot of style choices, and so I had very limited options, but I was kind of in my electro swing era, and so I chose this dress because I just thought it really gave like the 1920s like swing vibe that I've been enjoying recently, so I went for that. I started with a block pattern from some muslin, and I tried my best to mark the neckline considering I had no references of the back. I also marked the waistline. The skirt is constructed of 2 overlapping half circles, so I took measurements for the length of those half circles, and I noticed the shorter one goes from the waist to resting at arm's length and the bigger one stops just above the knee. However, I lengthened mine for modesty purposes. To make my skirt pattern, I took a 60 by 24 inch strip of fabric and overlapped it 6 inches across the front. I pinned how much to take in from the side seam. I noticed that there was a side seam in the reference, so I took it in about 3 inches on each side and tapered that off. Then I just kind of eyeballed this curved bit. I repeated this to make the top layer. I cut out my bodice from some white cotton voile. Then I cut all those pieces from my white chiffon. For sewing, I joined the side seams of the skirt. Repeat for the short layer. I also did this to the chiffon. I then sewed together my bodices, side seams, and shoulder seams. I had 2 cotton voile layers and 1 chiffon layer. I cut this 24-inch radius circle skirt to kind of be a slip. The original dress doesn't have a slip, but when it comes to wrap skirts, I'm not taking any chances. Then I serged, especially if it's wrapped in the front, like, you're just begging for, like, after I made this dress and like sat down in it a few times, I was like, if I didn't have this little slip here, I'd be like in a lot of trouble. So I don't know why her dress doesn't have that, which may be the reason why she only stands up very carefully at one point in the music video, but for most of the video she's just sitting down in this dress, so I was wondering if like that was why she didn't do a lot in this dress, because it's so easy to flash people. Then I serged the hem on top of that. Actually, I serged all the edges. Then I found the circle skirt was too bulky, so I made a smaller one out of cotton because the chiffon was too sheer as well. However, I found out that the cotton was actually also too sheer, so what I ended up doing in the end was I had this same slip piece, but I had a cotton layer and then I had 2 chiffon layers on top of that. After that, I finally decided to iron everything. Next, I serged my bodice lining to its cotton and chiffon layers. Then I understitched it. Now I'm sewing the skirt pieces together with the cotton and chiffon sides facing. Then I repurposed my circle skirt to cut out 7-inch flounces. These were then serged and black velvet ribbon was added to both ends. Explain technicals of pleats. Girl, I made this dress several months ago. You think I'm gonna remember how I did that? I'll try my best. So, how I think I remember doing this is At first I thought, when I looked at the reference photo, that the top line of the ruffle was flat, and then it just kind of like pleated into little triangles. And so first I tried pressing those triangles and realized quickly that they were not staying in place. And then I looked at the reference photo again and concluded that there was probably some sort of stitchery witchcraft at the top. So I repleated them, folding over the top edge as well. I also pressed this with a piece of cotton in between the pleats and the iron, just because I didn't want the velvet ribbon to get crushed or ruined. So that was another very important detail. Honestly, I didn't really measure much of the pleats, I just kind of eyeballed them, but I kind of went for, I think I went for like an inch at the bottom, and then some of them tapered down to like a ½ inch, ¼ inch at the top, I believe, but that's the best that I can do to remember what I did. Now is the time to actually start assembling this dress. First, I needed to finish the arm size, so I serged them and turned and top stitched the edge. I'm gonna explain something real quick. So, I have not sewn together the back because I intend on putting a zipper in this dress. Now, I think that most likely there was either a side zipper or they used elastic for the back, but I decided to do a back closure with a zipper because that's what I would have preferred. So what I have here is I've stay stitched my chiffon layer to one of my cotton layers. So I've stay stitched that together because we're going to sew the zipper to one side, and then we're going to fold and sew down the lining on the other side just to make sure that it's nice and clean. So we don't want to attach, in other words, we don't want to attach these two layers together. This is our lining, this is the fashion fabric. So what I'm gonna do, just to finish the edges, is I'm gonna serge along here, and then I'm just gonna have, so I've got my lining kind of folded open, and then I'm just gonna serge along this entire edge. So that's what I did. Okay, here's another clip of me explaining this to you. So here are my skirt pieces, and this is the back seam. So as you can see, that's where I want to put the zipper. And we've got our short piece and our long pieces that taper off to the top. Now I've got an open edge, so these things, they're not connected at all, as you can see. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna serge along these back edges and the top edges to just clean them up and finish them. And now I could serge it all together and have these smaller pieces attached to the longer pieces, but I think I want to keep them separate just so that the dress has a bit more flow and that I have more freedom to work with it, so I think that's what I'm gonna do. I left 6 inches open at the top for a zipper, and I sewed up the back seam on my short layer, long layer, and cotton slip, keeping them all separate. Guys, my sewing machine is not working. What do I do? What do I do? Bernina had fallen ill just the day before the deadline, so I had to borrow my mother's sewing machine.
Okay, now I can fully appreciate the humor.
Yeah, so I think, well, what happened is when I got back from my mission, I noticed that, like, the motor was, like, making sparks. And I was like, well, it hasn't exploded yet, so
Oh, wow.
I'll just keep going.
Like some animal build a nest in there or something?
I don't know,
What
like, I don't know what happened. Or maybe the carbon motor brushes wore down again, but it was just, like, sparkling. I ignored it, and then it started just making weird noise. Well, it wasn't weird noises. It actually, like, sounded like sand, but, like, in a soft way.
Well, we can take it apart. A little machine oil probably is not going to fix that, darn it.
I don't think so. Press those seams open. For the front flounces, I simply tapered the ends so it would come to a point. Then I got down to all of that top stitching, and then top stitched the ribbon over that. I also tacked the ruffles in a few places and stay stitched the skirts and attached the bodice to the zipper. So now I'm gonna sew this into the dress, but I'm gonna do something that I never do and follow the instructions on the zipper instructions. Step 1, use Coats and Clark Invisible Zipper Foot. Line up the center marking of the hole in the front foot of the needle. Alright, I got my feet here, so we'll just use this one. Okay, step 2, open zipper from wrong side. Iron the zipper coils flat so the 2 rows of stitching show. Use the synthetic setting on the iron. Some of you may be wondering, Mary, why are you following the instructions? You never follow instructions. Well, my good friends. Okay, here's the thing. I'm a self-taught seamstress, and when you teach yourself, like, you miss some things. And so I honestly think it would benefit me to learn how to do things the proper way sometimes, even though my own methods in the end still get the same result. Now I gotta pin the right side of the zipper to the right side of the fabric, it says. Now one thing that I didn't mention that I did was this ruffle is sewn to the lining, like straight through the lining, but I did stop about an inch away from the edge so that the lining would be separate, so that when I did the zipper, then I could cover the back of the zipper with the lining as you would normally do. Now when I was a beginner seamstress, I used to just sew my zipper in and then cut off the extra zipper at the bottom, which I guess you can do, but like another thing you can do is you can just tuck it into the garment. You can just tuck it in when you're done and then top stitch over it to keep it in place. And then you don't have to cut anything off your zipper. And then if you need to reuse the zipper for something else, you can just steal it. Oh my goodness, I poked myself. So now I guess we just sew in the zipper. I don't know why I'm acting like I've never done this before. I've sewn in so many zippers. I know what I'm doing. When I was in theater, a lot of the zippers on costumes would break, so I would constantly be replacing them because I was the only one who knew how to do it, so I had to teach some other people how to sew in zippers, but it got really old. Another tip that I've learned with zippers over the years is, like, zipper foots are amazing. Like, I definitely recommend investing in a zipper foot because then you can get really close to the zipper. However, I have learned that there is such a thing as getting too close to the zipper, because if you get too close, then the zipper won't zip up as it should. So you want to make sure that it's like a decent distance. I'm glad they have pictures because I am in fact literate, but reading and understanding are two very different things. Another thing I like to do is actually zip up the zipper before I pin it to the other side, just because I know that it's hard to line up zippers correctly, and so it's easier to do that when the zipper is zipped up. So I would do that first. I love how I said I was going to follow the instructions, and now I'm totally just showing you my way. So once I've got that pinned, like so, then you can just unzip it and then pin it in like normal. Alright, we can now sew in the other side of the zipper. Voila! Okay, so I'll show you here what I was talking about. So I like to just leave the zipper at its original length because then you can just zip it down all the way. It makes it easier so the zipper track doesn't get in the way. So now I can zip up my dress. Oh, wow, that's very off-center. And then this little tail, you can just... Actually might need to unzip it again. The tail of the zipper, you can flip inside. Now you can see that the zipper is tucked inside, all cozy, and then I would just do like a little stitch there just to keep it in place. I don't know why there's like a little pucker there, but that's my bad. I'll fix it, don't worry. I'll fix all of the problems. Well, I tried resewing it and it was still not perfect, so I just decided to move on. But later, after I did wear this to the party, I realized that there were a lot of things that needed to be changed, mainly the slip because the cotton layer was too sheer, and I thought if I'm going to be disassembling the bodice from the skirt to fix the entire skirt, I might as well just try resewing the zipper in as well if I'm going to be ripping out the zipper anyway. So I basically ended up fixing everything I said I was going to fix, and it turned out really, really good. But it did take me, I think I procrastinated this like 2 whole weeks or maybe a month. I don't remember. But like okay, here's my problem. I'm kind of like trauma dumping right now. What am I doing? This is a rant. This is like a little something. Basically, I hate doing things twice. I hate fixing things. So when it comes to sewing, there is a lot of fixing things that needs to be done. So that is usually the reason why my sewing projects take a long time, is because I have to fix something and then I like never want to do that. So it's always great when a project just goes really smoothly because I can get a dress done in like a week and no problems. But yeah, anyway, thought I should come out and say that I struggle with my own mistakes. So there you go. Lastly, I hand stitched the bodice lining down to the inside of the skirt, and that was the complete dress. Now, you won't see this in the grand reveal because I don't really like the way it turned out. This was mainly for the party because I was replicating this costume, but I made this little fascinator, and I just had like leftover scraps of ruffles from my Anne of Green Gables dress, and I just like hot glued that to this little circle and a comb, and I mean, it's something. It's kind of cute. I mean, it's kind of floppy as well. Like, I don't think I would, I don't know. I think my loathing of, what's it called when you're like despising something, but it's like my despisal, my loathing, my hatred for, anyway, my distaste for this very cheaply crafted thing will probably keep me from ever wearing it again, but here it is if you wanted to see it. But yeah, I did not include it in the reveal because I didn't care. I don't know why I still have it. I should have just thrown it away. But there you go. yeah, so that's it. That's the dress. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Please interact with this video if you want to. Like it, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Adio. Love you, bye.
Like knives and swords and weapons that you use against me. You have knocked me off my feet again, got me feeling like a nothing. You, with your voice like nails on a chalkboard, call me out when I'm wounded. You, picking on the weaker man. You can take me down with just one single blow, but you don't know. Someday I'll be in a big old city, and all you're ever gonna be is mean. Someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me, and all you're ever gonna be is mean. Why you gotta be so mean? You, with your switching sides and your wildfire lights and your humiliation, you have pointed out my flaws again as if I don't already see them. I walk my head down trying to block you out, cause I'll never impress you. I just wanna feel okay again. I bet you got pushed around, somebody made you cold, but the cycle ends right now, cause you can't lead me down that road, and you don't know what you don't know. Someday I'll be living in a big old city, and all you're ever gonna be is me. Someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me, and all you're ever gonna be is mean. Why you gotta be so mean? And I can't see you years from now in a bar, talking over a football game with that same big loud opinion, but nobody's listening. Washed up and ranting about the same old bitter things, drunk and grumbling on about how I can't sing, but all you are is mean. All you are is mean, and a liar, and pathetic, and alone in life, and mean, and mean, and mean, and mean. But someday I'll be living in a big old city, and all you're ever gonna be is mean. Yeah, someday I'll be big enough so you can't hit me.